Hey guys, today we are talking about how to get motion blur shots in your videos like this. So motion blur in videography has gotten a lot more popular lately. Some people will take their footage and add this effect in post, but I always feel like it's best to get the shot that you want the way you want it in camera right away, and that will always look the best. So here's the settings I use when I'm getting shots like this. So the best way to get this is by using your shutter speed. Shutter speed is what causes the motion blur. I use Canon cinema cameras, so I use shutter angle. So when I do this, I always have to switch it from shutter angle to shutter speed to make it easier to achieve what I'm trying to get. Just with regular shooting, there's a rule for your shutter speed when you're doing slow shutter. So for example, the rule of thumb is to keep your shutter speed at twice what your frame rate is, in general. For slow shutter settings for the motion blur look, I like to keep it at half of what my frame rate is because I jump from 24 to 60 frames depending on what I'm shooting at that point of the day. So if my setting is at 24 frames, I move my shutter speed down to 1/12. If I'm shooting at 60, I move it down to 1/15. 1/15 is usually the max that I'll go for this effect, otherwise you kind of lose the blur that you're going for. Once you have your shutter speed set, you're obviously going to be bringing in a lot more light than you need to be exposed properly. So then it's time to look at the other settings. For me, I don't ever touch my ISO because I like to live at my native ISO for video, which for Canon is 800. And that gives me the most dynamic range for the shot that I'm shooting. If I change that, then I start to lose dynamic range. So I'll just leave ISO alone and move on to my other spots. My next step is my aperture. The goal for setting my aperture in this type of shot is to get more stuff in focus without going too far. So I like to go around 5.6 and try to go no higher than that if possible. I have built-in NDs in my cameras, so I'm able to do that and then go to my ND filters and change those settings to dial in my exposure. If you don't have ND filters, it's totally okay to just crank your aperture further just to get that exposure right. So now that you have your settings, it's time to actually get your shot. And this is the part that is vital. When you have your shutter speed set that low, every bit of movement from your camera is going to be shown in the footage. So ideally, to get this shot, you'll want to have the camera on a tripod. That's not always the case at weddings. I almost never get this shot with a tripod, so that then leads me to having to be very still when I'm shooting this shot. I keep my elbows in, I keep it close to my body, and I try to move as little as possible and let the subjects and the surroundings move for me. One big popular shot that we like to get and has become more popular as time progresses is the couple in the middle and the bridal party walking past them. When you're getting that shot, you want the bridal party to walk at a decent pace while not looking unnatural, but you want to be locked in on the couple and stay as still as possible while you're getting that shot. If you can keep them in focus without moving, it's gonna make for an even more epic shot. So outside of weddings, I've done this for engagement sessions as well, and in big city settings, it works really well because there's so much hustle and bustle that it helps you to hone in on the subject, which is the couple, while also getting the feeling of how busy the city is around them. And I think that adds just a really cool element to pulling you into a video. So as I said at the beginning, I think getting shots like this is always best done when it's done in camera when you get the shot initially. And part of that comes with shooting intentionally. So when I get the shot, I know for sure that's what look I want with this specific shot. So the great thing about shots like this is that it gives a very organic feel to what you're shooting. So feel free to get creative, see what works for you, see what you like, and just have fun. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or other comments relating to this video, put it in the comments. Also, we offer memberships now. So if you're interested in that, click the join button and see what all that has to offer, and we will see you next time.